Former Anambra State Governor and presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has reacted to the state of the nation in the wake of the steep decline of the country's currency. In an interview with the Vanguard newspaper, Peter Obi noted that the average Nigerian should be able to judge the performance of President Tinibu since he assumed office on May 29, 2023.
And if you have a head of state who does not know that putting every child at school and putting every school in every scholar in a job is the job of being a head of state, they have no right to be there. We are not in just any country. Nigeria is like an experiment that God has produced to force Africans to legitimize collective thinking. And if we don't do it, nobody will do it for us.
If it took you only a second, immediately they saw you in and you asked, the subsidy is gone, the subsidy is gone. How much time do you need to tell them that if you don't increase the salary of the civil servant, you are not going to put money back into the system in a sustainable manner? They're there at it for 8 months.
The recent bomb blast, to be able to, through him, extend our condolences to the bereaved families and all those who lost their valuable properties and everything. Assure them of our prayers that God will grant all those who lost their life eternal rest and those who lost their assets, the opportunity.
E better e do baka me voir. They say she don't dey cry. In fact, a pool of tears she dey right now. Say President Tinibu don't talk. Say he no go fit lie reinstate her back again into the ministry. My country people, as me and you they talk right now. They say another man that does down for the seat. Quick. After all the packaging, after all the lifting of the breast, after all the my country people, yeah, Tinibu gbefwa or efwa, he don't abandon them. Oh, he react moje. That's all life be. If you dey chop today, tomorrow if you not see chop, oh, auntie sorry, as that one pass, so when I see these two people, now so they give Tinibu woto. They say the state of the economy is alarming. Say Tinibu, they don't know what they do. Whether na Baba na they play for there as a president, he no let person understand because the high rate, we be say the naira the value, not be dollar, pounds, and all the foreign exchange. Oh, don't go up, my country people. Hey, Tinibu, they receive stone from left, right, from everybody as they talk right now. Go reach Peter Obi, that one they fire around every day. As if that is not enough. Because the year say Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, they don't withdraw themselves as a member of the ECOWAS. My country people, they say it come like shock. It come like shock to federal government. They come they talk say, hey, was wana bania wala wala wo hey, my country people. The reason why the federal government they express sadness now be say it can't be say now for Tinibu regime now everywhere come scatter everywhere come gbada. Hey, my country people, this one they not be good omeo. The year where they make Tinibu alright at the time where Tinibu become president and the ECOWAS chairman, now they come say Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali, they commode their safe. My country people, this is not a good thing, no. It is not a good thing at all. Now there you go see some people will be saying only their belly and they know. Some people will be say if they follow article up and down, where they put article matter for head, where they turn around, quickly go meet Tinibu because it come out better based on the fraud where it concern big money. Thinking say Tinibu go put him for that seat. He say they hope because with the year say he go meet Tinibu for France where he dey, he can't shake hand, he can't follow and take picture, he can't still post am. My country people, everybody they find daily bread. A lot of people go criticize this man, say make it a go. Now article right hand man, if it be, how come he can't leave article, he can't follow Tinibu. My brother, my sister, hunger is real. It's very, very real. I dey shook. Men, the streets. My country people, now this one I bring us. Come waiting Peter Obi talk. Say Nigeria, say make we put politics aside, make we put party aside, make we put individual, the bias aside. Make we look into the state of the nation right now. Say food and insecurity is the major problem. And my country people not true. Every day with the years say that they kidnap people. This one not be saying only poor people or upcoming people. We say they just get money. This one that they kidnap politicians even more. Even royal people that they kidnap all of them. Anybody kidnap people, they are just kidnapping people. No security, nothing. Nowhere is safe. Even when Tinibu they suggesting and say you want carry the CBN, the FFN, go Lagos, I think it's majorly because of insecurity, my country people.
Former Anambra State Governor and presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has reacted to the state of the nation in the wake of the steep decline of the country's currency. In an interview with the Vanguard newspaper, Peter Obi noted that the average Nigerian should be able to judge the performance of President Tinibu since he assumed office on May 29, 2023. Adding that Tinibu should be in the Guinness World Records for causing Nigerians the most hardship. Tinibu had on the 21st of November 2023 bragged about his reforms while addressing groups of investors at the 10th German-Nigerian Business Forum in Berlin, stating that he deserves recognition from the Guinness World Records for the economic reforms he has introduced since assuming office.
Nigeria voted for me for reforms. And from day one of my inauguration, I started the reform. Day one. To me, if you didn't mention me in the Guinness Book of Records, I will try to find a way to insert myself. Because I did it without expectation.
Well, Peter Obi in that interview said he may actually be correct when he claims that his name deserves to be in the Guinness World Records. Don't forget that people's names don't always make it into the Guinness World Records for only altruistic reasons. So it depends on which angle he is coming from. If the idea is to put his name on the Guinness Book of World Records for causing Nigerians the most hardship, untold hardship, of course, he's spot on. And I will totally agree with him because his reforms are not achieving what they are meant to achieve.
Give us your own assessment. I mean, this is government saying these are how things are looking. Yes, we know that there is suffering in the land. We know that people are feeling the pinch, but then these are the effort government is putting into areas that are affecting the average citizen. But from your own point of view, as a member of the opposition, do you see in the same way?
Sure, I think that the best thing to say is that the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinibu has dropped the ball and lost the plot. When you come into government and we tell you that don't be too parochial with your appointment, we are front-loading the potential that almost everything you do will begin to have ethnic coloration. Here we are today. You were here, I had this conversation with you. When you take all this finance infrastructure and put it in one tribe, and maybe then you now decide that based on what you are seeing, you need to move CBN, one aspect of it, to Lagos, you need to do this, you need to do that. Little wonder everybody is now thinking that you are running a Yorubanized agenda in the country. But I warned you. So that's them. The second thing is that 8 months is a very long time for you to reflate the economy, especially when you have taken a lot of money through the subsidy program. If it took you only a second, immediately they saw you in and you asked, the subsidy is gone, the subsidy is gone. How much time do you need to tell them that if you don't increase the salary of the civil servant, you are not going to put money back into the system in a sustainable manner? They're there at it for 8 months. Okay, insecurity. I know what the last administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, where they had reached. They had gotten to a point where they bought more equipment, the armed forces were beginning to charge at them, they are taking back territory that were lost, but you know what has happened to them? The entire space now is having to deal with issues that they can never, I repeat, with due respect to them, they do not have the mental capability or the gravitas to solve. People are getting kidnapped in the corridors of Lagos and the Southwest. maybe the South has even abated a little bit because of the proactive efforts of some of their governors. The entire north central of this country is now like literally a war zone.
There are those who say in government as of today, they say, look, some of these issues are overbloated. Some, I mean, they're exaggerated by some Nigerians.
Sure.
I mean, there are those in government who say that things are not as difficult or as bad as it is in terms of security.
I don't play the politics of let's pull the country down. I don't even play the politics of hating the commander-in-chief. I'm telling you that you cannot come to the Nigerian people and say to them that a country that has normalized condolences today, condolences tomorrow, condolences the next day, and conversational annoyance of saying highly placed for more than 10 years cannot come and tell us that we are overreacting. Would you wake the dead that we have killed? Look at what has happened in Oyo. Some guy is there as governor, not focusing on the work he's supposed to focus on. They've gotten a clutter of, activities that has, what they're calling preliminary investigation, stockpiling of miners' weapons. That looks like a military-grade ordnance, just looking at the crater in the middle. And you will ask yourself, what exactly is the responsibility of state governors at the subnational level to make sure that they can profile their own state? So, how are you going to solve that? Just before I got into your studio, I was just being told that some kings have been adopted in some part of the Southwest. It's alleged that some have been killed. Look, my brother, let's go to the economy. You are pretending as if you don't know that over and above the fact that the currency of a country is a medium of exchange, that you do not know that national pride and integrity is also embedded in the value of the currency. Why would you run a situation in the country where the national currency of our country has become the pawn of jokes even by people that are spending CFR? Leave that. Come to national cohesion. Let me tell you, my dear Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinibu, you know me, I know you. I have nothing against you. You are president now, do the job. You will do well to go and take a look at how the northern supporters of your party, who worked very hard to bring you in, the kinds of opinions they have about you now, because you have suddenly become a presidency that they think does not give them enough access. Other than that, why will your senators come together under a northern senators forum and begin to bellow like that, since you have a majority? And please, even the management of creative narrative is not being done properly. I find it extremely offensive on behalf of those of them who have been standing with the APC, standing with this party for so long, that suddenly a turncoat Buala is now the one that is getting pictures in the villa, getting pictures in front. Where is Ayo Yalowo, who crosses sword with me all the time? Where is Joe Igbokwe, who crosses sword with me all the time? Where is Al-Hawan? Al-Hassan, who crosses sword with me. These are men who have been just like me in PDP. Ismaila, all of them who have worked very hard for this party. And suddenly, it's Boala now that is eating breakfast in the villa. It's Boala that is eating breakfast in Paris. And you expect people to believe that you know what you're doing.
But you were telling Boala that he should keep seats.
No, listen, that was sarcasm. I don't play that kind of silly games. I don't go to Bola Tinubu. I don't need Boala for that. I'm being honest with you. I'm telling you things, and I'm telling the president things that he needs to work on so that he can make his party a bit more stable. Leave that ECOWAS. You were here, I was here with you when the issue in the border with Nigeria, when they had their coup, and he was bellowing and all of that prematurely without even getting enough intelligence. Today, 3 countries have left an organization that we started in Lagos by the Lagos Treaty on May 28, 1975, a 49-year-old organization. Why? Because you seem to be giving people the impression that you are so much in bed with France when your African brothers are demanding that they get a fair, equitable placing on national conversation. And you have not even defined what our own foreign policy objective is, at least that of your administration. And before you tell me this site has always been in Nigeria, no, please. When President Muhammadu Buhari was in that villa, almost every president in the West African coast dealt with him with a lot of respect and a lot of deference. Here we are today. Which other area do you want us to talk about? Is it even the general feel of the country? They are creating an impression that this nation is going to become a place where nobody can give them opinion, nobody can criticize them, anybody who criticizes them is going to be abused and all. Where is Femi Fani-Kayode? While Boala is sitting in the villa and eating in France. Do you know the amount of work Femi had to do on this, trying to get them into this government, when you don't treat the people that have been with you for a long time, never leaving you well, you discourage the ones that are going to even put in energy in the future. Where are the people that were working with President Muhammadu Buhari? Did your government change power and suddenly become a government that everything that Buhari represented is bad and everybody that worked for Buhari is not available in your cabinet?
Let's bring fairness and transparency into this conversation. Will it be fair to criticize the Bola Tinibu government in the manner in which you have tonight, considering the fact that this government has spent just about 8 months in office, and they will say, the government will say, they're building foundations upon which their manifesto, the renewed agenda, the renewed hope agenda is going to stand on. Is it fair to criticize them in that manner, Mr. Show?
Do you know why we put the feet of the leaders to fire? It's because as it is, we even over-pamper them with privilege. We give them enough privileges to get the job done, and we don't have the patience to now begin to pamper them and give them excuses.
So you imagine Nigerians are impatient at the moment?
Everybody is impatient. You are impatient. I'm impatient. Do you know what the value of currency is? Do you know what the level of inflation is? Our currency is going down. It's not reached rock bottom yet. We don't even know their strategy to stabilize it.
But you look at the performance on the stock exchange.
Listen, you are building bubbles all over the place. Some of us are not stupid, please. You are building bubbles all over the place. And if it bursts, you're going to have a bigger catastrophe. Pray. Why is your stock exchange doing so well and your risk sector not doing well? Why is your stock exchange doing so well and inflation is the way it is? Let me tell you one of the silliness of their policy. When President Muhammadu, with due respect, people are hearing me, I visited him, they're asking me, they are seeing me appreciate him more. It's because with the benefit of hindsight, you can see what he was trying to do. When he changed the currency, you know what would have happened for us if we had kept it instead of them bellowing and shouting and insisting that they want to bring it back? We would have reduced the amount of money in rogue hands that is not playing within the banking sector. The quantum of money that is not playing within the banking sector now is part of the reason why they are chasing the dollar every day. You have increased subsidy. That means that you're getting more money to FARC. That means you are giving more money to state and local government. Have you checked to see what they're doing with it? What you are having is that when you see people just wanting to buy dollar in your country, you will have to ask, has our import need in terms of items increased so much? What exactly are we buying? What exactly are we using the dollar? You should know that that is speculation occasioned by your mismanagement of your financial policy.
Mr. Shewumi, the president has said that some of the policies of his government are going to bite hard. And it's like the process of giving birth. The pain is going to come, then laughter and smiles are going to come afterwards. Can we as a people give President Bola Tinubu a benefit of the doubt?
Even if we don't give him a benefit, what can we do apart from talk to him and tell him, let's fix our country? It's not about President Bola Tinubu.
Do you believe in his capacity as a leader of this country?
The election is over. This is not politics. This is national development. This is national cohesion. This is national peace. This is regional stability. This is making sure that every part of this country feels that this government and this presidency represents them. I'm not the one creating the narrative of Yorubanization. I'm not. I don't believe in such thing, but that's what it's looking like. And people are getting extremely irritated by it. I traveled around this country. I listened to the deeper things that have been said in the far corners of this nation. And I can tell you, postponing the management of the Nigerian economy in such a manner that the Nigerian people can feed, can feel safe, can sleep well at night, or at least can be hopeful, is an urgent responsibility. All their fancy talk, somebody is getting bad. Why were they quick to give themselves in the budget all of the things that will make their own life comfortable now? Why didn't they delay the things that will make them comfortable so that they can pay more attention to the things that will make the Nigerian poor a bit able to say, yes, this government is going in the right direction? And so my attitude has always been, let us surface the issues, let us discuss it, let us even suggest some solutions. But the way they're going about things.
Let me ask you this.
Ask me.
If you look at the personality and the profile and the pedigree of the Commander-in-Chief, Bola Ahmed Tinibu, do you think he has a capacity to deal with the problem and the challenges of Nigeria today?
I'll put it to you this way. Some time ago, just after he had won, someone had come to say they wanted to do a documentary of those who have known him for a long time. And for one reason or the other, they came to me. And you know what I said? I said, If Bola Ahmed Tinibu, now president, does not have the capability to fix the economy, I doubt if anybody within his generation can so do. And I also added another caveat. I said, I know that he respects other nations, America and all that, but that I know that he ought to understand that Nigeria has to pull itself up by the bootstrap and fix his own country. You can't run this, the biggest nation that is black in sub-Saharan Africa, that is very hopeful of the future, on an assumption that people are going to think suddenly the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, his address of visitation is no longer England, our traditional partner, it has suddenly become France. And with due respect to the French, they are the only ones who have to do a survey of all the French-speaking Francophone countries to know exactly what their reputation and their perception is. What is our president doing there 24 hours? Are you then surprised that 24 to 36 hours after he arrived in France, countries in West Africa who feel that France is the issue that they have with all of their own local politics are saying they want out of ECOWAS? Please, let me ask you, should a 50-year-old, near 50-year-old organization just wake up in the morning and say they are going out, and you begin to shop to the diplomacy to say what's going on here? Yeah, I accept that, yes. They've done a coup. The federal government of Nigeria cannot really support a coup. But what happened to all the dialogue processes that are supposed to be going on behind to make your African brothers understand that Nigeria is a nation that would be for Africa?
On the issue of the ECOWAS, the president has made it clear that proper democratic process should be allowed to first start on the continent and in the sub-region, and military coup should be discouraged. If not, if you look at the way and manner military coup are getting more popular in Africa, it gives a lot of worry and is a threat to democracy.
Do you know?
Do you think that is not charitable enough?
Do you know the strength of a presidential declaration of that nature within the sub-region? It is inversely related to the amount of respect they have for you and your words. If you make statements and you see that your African neighbor, this is the Nigeria that will sit down in Abuja, will quell coup in Syria alone, will sit down in Abuja, will compel compliance in Gambia, will sit down in Nigeria, will resolve issues in Liberia, will sit down in Nigeria. I can't, how many times the president of Nigeria used to come to Abuja just to come and greet the real big brother, which is the presidency of Nigeria. How did we become this? Sheon? If nobody can tell Bola Ahmed Tinibu the truth, I will, because you see,
how do you summarize it though? What do you think is going on?
No, I think what has happened, I'll tell you. You see, when a leader is coming, and is coming with the mindset that the people that he has been with all of his life are the only ones that know, he's going to have a skewed appointment. And once his appointment is skewed, what he's going to do is that the ones that don't want to talk or even get themselves irritated by what's going on will just take their capacity and move away. And that's what's happening. Look, the kinds of things I'm hearing around Bajabi Amila, the chief secretary, chief of staff, the internet is filled with it. Some of them may be rumors, some of them are things that are still being investigated. But I was here with you when they were asking me, and I was saying, that capacity to do that job does not exist there. And it has nothing personal to do with him. He's my brother, he's my friend, I like him. I like the fact that he has done a lot of things in Lagos, which is, what do you call it, give back. But the office of the National Security Advisor of the government, that even has some potential covetousness in its history, cannot be run by people that are too covetous. If people that are around a man that is as straight as Buhari can be as covetous as we are now finding out, what then do you expect when you put the covetous to be leading the covetous? That's the problem.
So, if you were to advise and in seeking solution, because the country is for everyone.
Of course.
And the best of the country is what we all should pursue.
Okay.
Now, the question will be, how do we go from here as a people?
First things first, I'll first of all say that I've become convinced now, over time, that when you leave the office, especially when it's not a hostile takeover, you cannot disdain the experience, opinion, and suggestion and help of your predecessors. He cannot, if he does that, he does it at his own peril. The experience that people like Buhari bring to the table is a lot. He needs to visit him more, he needs to consult him more, especially when it comes to sub-region issues and the fringes of the north. That's my position. The other thing on the economy, he needs to let the people understand, especially Wale Edun and all of the guy in Cardoso and all of them. He needs to let them understand that I am not trying to build an economy solely for GDP so that Bretton Woods organizations like World Bank and IMF can be giving me pass mark. I'm not interested. I am interested in building an economy that is resilient and serves the poor people of Nigeria and gives them the opportunity to begin to live the type of life that renewed hope is supposed to be. And every second we spend waiting before we begin to give them this thing is too late for me. Look, let me tell you what would have happened if you had increased salaries of civil servants. They would have been getting that increased salary in a sustained manner. The private sector would have followed up. They would have done a little bit more to keep their workforce. That money would have gone back into the market. People would have been, you would have started to see the economy growing. You can't run a big economy on palliative, especially when you are even running the palliative as wholesale instead of as retail. That's that. You need, Mr. President, with due respect, sir, I fear that you may lose the economy or you may not do well on the economy. And that would be like a big shame because I feel that that's your strong point. I truly feel that Bola Tinubu's strong point is the economy. But I expect you to understand that we're not going to create a Nigerian economy that makes the rich richer and then makes the poor more miserable because there are more poor people in this country. You can't be impressing me with the numbers of Aliko Dangote's stock exchange growth in such a short time. What am I going to do with that?
Let me wrap up the conversation with some other issues relating to your party. For example, you visited former President Muhammad Buhari.
Yes, I did.
What were your intentions?
Thank you very much. Sheung, you are my go-to man when it comes to honest conversation. I had been seeing for some time that what's going on here, something is not adding up. And then I went to visit the president of Brazil, whom I go to often. And I was agonizing to him that, look, mister, you people can feed yourself. We can't feed ourselves. He sent me to his Minister of Agri. The guy started telling me things that resembled school feeding program, rice, this. I was almost, and I don't speak Portuguese, so somebody has to be interpreting. I was hearing almost the policies that this guy was saying, is this what Buhari was trying to do? Put that in the bag. The second thing is that I started seeing that, okay, the Southeasterners are quite upset with their desire to be president in this country. And I said, okay, let me go to him and have a conversation with that. Mister, we collaborated with ourselves to give the Yorubas the presidency when we brought Obasanjo, when June 12 happened. Are we going to watch the Southeasterners struggle and be angry and won't figure out a way to figure out this thing? Then the third question I wanted to ask him, very simple. I said, Mr. President, sir, we grew up. I'm the son of a soldier. I went to the military school. I was his head boy. We grew up believing that this country there's one knot that is big that can stabilize the others when they start to quarrel. You people have lost the whole of the middle belt. People are dying there. And you are running the risk that you are going to lose the Northeast. Because when the Northwest stands up for election, the people of the Northeast back them. But when the Northeast stands up for election, you guys pretend as if there's another alternative conversation on the table. Those were the type of questions I was asking.
Did you get the answers?
Yeah, I did, but I would have given it to you, Sheung. But then unfortunately, even the obedience and the people that I thought I was, trying to say, let's have a conversation, let's broaden the conversation, let's broaden the discourse. They were damn too angry, they were just abusing. And I said to myself, what's going on here? If everybody wants to be tribal, then I will be tribal too.
What is the most inspiring or the most instructive conversation of what the former president said to you?
When I entered into his presence, this guy is so magical. When I left his presence, you know what I said to my friends that came with me? I said, I visited this man only once. Look at how this man is the impact on me. The kinds of things we're saying, his environment, the minimalism, the ramrod straightness. I said to my friend, if I visit this man two more times, if anybody dares abuse him beside me, I can stab the person to death. It was that electrifying. For the first time in my life, I could understand why somebody would say if they abused the prophet, they killed him. Because I just saw this guy.
So you became a Buharist all of a sudden?
I have always been. I was just not in his party. Don't you listen? When he was the head of state, I was in Command Secondary School, Kaduna, getting ready to be head boy. I was not even head boy then. I was still a junior boy. When he started his war against the discipline, I started war against the discipline in the school. War against boys, war against girls. People are here who can testify to that. I'm not the kind of man. I'm not the type of man who doesn't see the need to quarrel with my own parents if I need them to go in a certain way. But I'm not one of those ones who will refuse to give them their feathers or their flowers.
I'm out of time on this conversation, but finally, you dragged your party to court.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Very, very. You can't run.
Have you been able to exercise internal
Everything
mechanism?
has been exercised. Listen, Sheung. You see, one of the painful things about democracy is that democracy imagines that the political party will throw up the best. and then the people will have to deal with the fait accompli of whatever they throw up. Now, I've noticed that the amount of issues we go and do as a result of parties not obeying their own laws, parties not obeying their self-same rule they gave themselves, is an issue. And how can they sit down there and tell me that they won't call neck of this party for how many months when everybody is screaming and shouting? How are they not able to do discipline? How are they not able to do the simple thing? Before we get to 2027 and become even a sorrier version of ourselves, it's best that people like me who have been here since the beginning begin to put their feet to the fire too. We'll test it in court. I believe that the next zone is that whatever the law creates, the law can dismantle.
On the recent bomb blast, to be able to, through him, extend our condolences to the bereaved families and all those who lost their valuable properties and everything. Assure them of our prayers that God will grant all those who lost their life eternal rest, and those who lost their assets, the opportunity rebuilding. Also, to thank the governor for his prompt response. That's what governance should be. When there's a problem, the system, like I've told him privately, he might not bring back the lost lives or replace the properties that we lost. But that response gives assurances and confidence to people that there's a government and a system that cares for them. So we thank him for that response and for also ensuring that a proper investigation starts in earnest, and also setting up a kind of support facility that people can be able to support those who are going through problems. That's basically where we are.
On behalf of the government and the good people of Oyo State, to thank His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi, former governor of Anambra State, and also the presidential candidate of Labour Party in the last presidential election. I thank you because politics didn't seep into this. You came here to commiserate with us over the explosion. Actually, it's, though investigation into the details are still going on, it was simply illegal miners storing explosives in an environment where they shouldn't be. It's a place where it's meant, for people to live in. It's not a mining site, So all the lapses that allow such to happen are being looked into. I'm particularly grateful because the president called me. You are three musketeers that went for that election. The president has reached out to me. You have reached out to me. But my own party candidates, not even a call or a text message. I mean, I'm saying it openly so that our leaders will know that you have time for politics, you have time for governance, and you have time for humanity. So we want to say thank you so much, sir, and we appreciate this visit. This is I'm sure you
What I would say is that all of us are now involved, and all of us should work hard and do the necessary sacrifice to see that we turn around the situation. And that is why it is necessary that when things like what happened here happened, and the government responded in a manner the government should respond, that everybody comes to participate and commend them for doing the right thing, and that we all do the right thing. It's a lot of sacrifice. Today, elections are over. Governance is the key thing, and what is required is, for me in particular, is that we need to cut the cost of governance, especially at the federal level. It is unacceptable the way we're going. We need to prioritize areas, critical areas, education, health, and pulling people out of poverty.
I don't know how many people have seen one video in which a 7-year-old Fulani kid is leading about 300 cows alone, and he's like a general in front, and the cows will follow him. And in the evening, he will turn them all around, and the cows will follow him. If you enter any Nigerian village in the savannah and you don't see the possibility of that happen, the first question you should ask yourself is why? All the children, when you listen to them, now I can tell you this. I did my youth service in Kankia, 58 kilometers to Katsina and 113 kilometers to Kano. That was where I met Sani Sada, the poet whose works I've been looking for any Katsina man who knows the Commissioner of Culture to look for. The things I learned from what that relationship gave me, I cannot talk about it because I could take the whole day talking about it. But there's one thing I could never run away from. Every child who did not go to school, listen to them after their Almajiri classes. They have a critical capacity that is not available than those who went to school. If you brought all of those children together, the child who could manage cows in the manner I've just described, and the other small boy, you will still find that in a video that is on, where a 9-year-old kid in Aba enters the market and in Queen's English, very impeccable, by any pidgin, was selling apple. But the way he was describing it, and the language he used, and the way he dragged almost everybody, all the old women in the market, to listen to his English, even if they didn't know what he was saying. It was so much that women were not buying what he was selling. They were just following him because he spoke like an oracle. And that's an oracle is not something you get on the streets. It is something that you can only get from a child who grew up knowing that Ariaria market is a place where human beings interact and where you need to design a strategy for linking them on a permanent basis. I thought he could not speak Igbo. Then, when he finished with his Queen's English, he went into. He did not sell. Nobody bought what he was selling. The boy also knew that he would not sell. But one thing happened. If there was a woman in that market that day whose child had never gone to school, when she got home, she would find a way to have a child who could speak English without sassiness, because the boy did it as if he owned the market. If you bring those two kids together, the one in Ariaria market and the kid who led the cows, and you put them in the same class, there is no American who compete with. And if you have a head of state who does not know that putting every child at school and putting every school in every scholar in a job is the job of being a head of state, they have no right to be there. We are not in just any country. Nigeria is like an experiment that God has produced to force Africans to legitimize collective thinking. And if we don't do it, nobody will do it for us. And if we don't do it, Nigerians will be doing it for other countries. I don't know which country you are going to make. None has what we have. And what we have is not because God just gave it to us. No. What we have came from the rude interactions that many consider the problem in Nigeria. Actually, those are the things which make us who we are. That was why in my dance drama, Nigeria the Beautiful, I kept insisting that what we consider our conflict areas, our spoilers, are actually the builders of the country we must have. I don't say you should not fight for Biafra, because I will fight against you normally if you say you are going to Biafra. And the reason I'm going to do it is, I discovered that all those countries in Southern Africa either passed through Nigeria or moved from Nigeria to those countries. I could pick a Zulu poet like Masisi Kunene, who tells me things that only an Edo poet could have told me, in the sense that what the Zulu poet calls a roar is what the Edo poet calls a lion. And it is like that across Africa. We happen to have spread ourselves across Africa so much that no culture that I talk about builds much of what we see in other African countries. When you listen to Malema playing the Pan-Africanist, he looks like a mad person. But the truth is, he is more in tune with what made us who we are. The real basis of our identity is in those things that are Pan-African in nature. I can assure you, if Nigeria did not have oil, I don't know anybody who remembers that there were up to about 126 textile mills in Nigeria. As a worker in a textile factory, the West African Trade Company at Apapa, I knew so much about them because they had to bring their goods. But what is important about it is this: those cotton farmers who made the knot were promoted by a leader whom we usually criticize for turning his back on free education. Northern leaders of today, Amadou Bello, did something they should all go back and learn, which is to say, if your brother is doing it, don't turn your back. You must have a basis for interacting with that brother, so that if tomorrow those who colonized us return again, the means with which they conquered us, whether it is knowledge, guns, or whatever, will be something that we can share. After we finish fighting between ourselves, we turn our guns on those who came after. If we don't learn to do it, we won't have a country. If Biafra broke tomorrow, the West will still be after them. If today Tinibu tried to do it right, they will fight him. But if, because they will fight him, he refuses to do it right, it is our turn to fight. When writing began, it not only extended human memory, it has over-multiplied it in such a way that if you are looking for all the books written in the world, no human memory can encompass them. When telephones started, they said with telephones, people will stop reading. You and I know that neither telephone, nor radio, nor television has actually killed reading. If you want to enjoy television, you should be an educated person. You don't get educated without reading. Almost all those things which are supposed to take us back from future developments, they turned out to be an extension of human memory or human imagination. It is not possible for AI to superintend over imagination without becoming an instrument of imagination. It is simply not possible. Some believe that if you put a chip in my palm and it becomes an overriding factor in the way I do things, it will change my humanity. No, humanity will change that chip. So you will always have a situation where what was meant to reduce what we are actually becomes a promotion of our human identity. No, AI will not destroy us. The poets who speak on stage, who enjoyed not having a script, are actually showing that activist spirit is not to be dampened in human society. The only problem I have with them is that they seem to think that they don't need a script. Every poet needs a script. And human memory, unless prolonged and defended, never really sustains itself. What makes us human is that what we create endures. Otherwise, we won't use the word culture. The word culture simply presupposes that we are creating what we last. And if there's anybody who is not defending what we last, he may be a leader, but history will push them to the gutter.
This is Bod TV Bod. In case the first time you come here, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more uploads.